Welcome. What is going on, guys? Tuesday night. So that means Comic News Weekly, like we do every week. Talking about some of that comic news. We also have some great topics, and we also have some new comic book day picks. New comic book day is tomorrow. Today, if you're DC or Lunar Distribution. But we're going to have a good time. Love all the people coming into the chat. Always a great conversation going on in there. And let's bring in the panelists, starting with Mr. Indie Spotlight himself, Andy Tomberlin. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, brother? Glad to be here another week, and let's get it going on.
Tuesday feels like it should be Friday. Week just started, but damn, it's been long.
Yes. It's like 5 Mondays in a row.
Yeah. Next one, he missed us last week, but he is back again, and we have Dan from Dank Comics on YouTube. What's going on, Dan?
What up? It's Tuesday night. New comic book day, insomnia night. So let's do it. Let's get this week going.
Dan doesn't let the grass grow under his feet either. He's even in a different location tonight. So, he's on the lam. Also, no stranger to YouTube. Tales from the flip side, brother from another mother. Same name and everything, just spelled wrong. Brian McClay. What's going on, buddy?
Spelled wrong. Get the hell out of here. Hey, it's a day that ends in Y. That means I'm podcasting.
Exactly. Talking about grass don't let grow under feet. You're always doing something, but we're always happy to have you on here. And then, of course, bringing it up. Let me change that. The producer and another comic book YouTuber himself, Mr. Comic Man, Andy El Beardo Jefe. What's up, buddy?
What is cracking, everybody? New Comic Book Day Eve, Monday 2.0. Here we are.
Yeah, this is always fun. I appreciate this. Is one of the things I look forward to every week. Talking comics with friends, fellow YouTubers, fellow Instagrammers, fellow website authors. You know, and Tomlin's got the deadlines, got to get that Indie Spotlight article out. But there's also a show that highlights that article on another channel right after this one, right, Andy?
Yes, sir. Keep It Thorough Comics. Make sure and head over there afterwards. Great bunch of guys that put a little twist on the list, and it's great, man. Tune in. I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed.
Yeah, so as soon as this stream ends, head over to Keep It Thorough. Like Andy said, great group of guys over there. But got my fellas here. Are you guys ready to talk about comics for the week?
Yeah.
I can tell the excitement. One thing that is exciting, though, which we couldn't really experience last year, which you're starting to see a lot, especially on social, especially all our friends within the comic community, is comic conventions are back. I mean, we have Terrificon that came this past week. There's there was one down in Raleigh also that Phil from Vintage Comics and Toys was at. Comic conventions are back. Instagram is rolling with pictures. Love seeing everyone digging in those boxes. Just number one rule of Comic-Con, right? Don't forget to wash your ass. But what do you guys think? Are you guys excited to see comic convention? Do you think we're going to see this kind of trickle into the comic market that we know of? Is the buying going to change? Is the buying habits going to change? Is book availability going to change? Are people going to hold off more because, hey, I can go look in cons now rather than have to buy stuff online, Facebook auctions, whatnot auctions even? What do you guys think about comic conventions? Tomberlin.
I'm glad to see it. How long it stays here right now with the current situation, I think that's going to play a little bit of a factor in the ones that are going on like right now. I think you're going to see more of a boom at those because people are worried like, well, shit, we better get them in while we can, you know? So I don't think we'll see a lot of difference from what's happening on the secondary market right now. I kind of think that would take a little bit longer. Like if they ran all year, I mean, if they didn't stop again, you might see some difference. But no, I think you'll see about the same. But I think you'll see a rush at these first couple. Like there's going to be I feel like a lot of people trying to get to them. You know,
it's like Julie Andrews in The Sound of Music, right? Twirling around like conventions.
Yes. It's I mean, I'm excited. I'm ready to get to one. You know. even smell that funk one time real good. Like, nobody's wearing deodorant or something. Something's
Sore
going
ass
on.
back is not used to digging through the boxes.
I want
on the
no
bottom
part of
his
that
head.
funk. No part of that funk.
Oh, come on, McClay. Come on,
I
man.
can't stand that shit, man.
Or the people that have like they're about to miss their flight and they got their roll up luggage full of short boxes next to you. You're trying to
Yes.
dig through boxes.
Yeah.
Whacked in the head with backpacks.
Yeah. No, I am ready though. I think it'll be good. Maybe the mask will help with the stink a little bit around there, so could be a win-win on that front.
Beardo, I know you have some cons like planned coming up, right? To get to attend.
We are extremely excited. We are locked and loaded for C2E2 this year. Hotel, 3-day stay, everything. We are locked and loaded for Motor City Comic Con. We're hoping to run into some of the tales from the Flipside brothers. And hopefully I'm going to make that flight out to Baltimore to make that happen as well this year.
What about Flipside Sisters? They got sisters over there too.
Sisters are coming. We told Jen last night, Comic Book Women crew, she's not coming. She's fired. So,
I think Andy's right. I think we're going to see a lot of the same pricing. I don't think there's going to be a lot of changes. I think there will be less. I think there'll be more competition for buyers.
What are the wall books you see right now, or are you envision seeing if you haven't made it?
Yeah, those aren't for sale. Wall books aren't for sale anymore.
Those aren't for sale. Those are just booth bait, from what I'm hearing.
So I don't know. I mean, I imagine we're gonna see something similar to C2E2 the last time that was up and running. It's a lot of the big major books that people need to move to make their nut right away to cover expenses in case things fizzle out in the last couple of days.
I was gonna say, was that the last major con before they shut down last year, right?
That was, and Hulk 181 was the book, and ASM 129 was the other book that you could see and find everywhere.
I remember when like X-Men 266 was the major wall book on. Of course, that was like 2016 when Channing Tatum was the news, right? But what about you, Dank? Did you go to Terrificon?
No, I didn't. I had to do some family stuff. But
party's over.
But actually, someone did tell me they think the smelling, the smelliness, the stench, they think it's a part of a convention strategy to keep people away from you, so you can.
I've heard that.
Look at the bins, yeah. However, I
liquid ass.
That's good. That's good.
There's
like that.
A lot of people that connected in the comic book community during COVID, right? Like a lot of new people connecting as a community because we couldn't connect. So it's a lot of that going on too. A lot of those people meeting for the first time and getting to know each other. So.
Yeah, that is one thing that, that's a good point is people meeting, especially through. One thing we did see a lot of is I think Zoom stock is probably a great thing to have right now because with COVID, a lot of people are jumping on Zoom meetings and a lot of people talking online or meeting new friends online. Now they're getting to meet people at the conventions and face to face. That's always a great experience. I'm looking forward to some of that, of course, going to Baltimore this year. Last time went, I didn't even get to do much digging because I spent most of the time meeting people you've met online or talk to chat rooms that I just enjoyed the conversation talking to them. What about you, Tony? You excited for comic conventions? What do you see? Do you see any trends changing?
Hey guys,
get those con exclusive Delta variants?
Yeah, right. Well, I kind of have a different perspective. I'm kind of in the desert when it comes to cons here in Minneapolis. We have some decent local things.
You don't have like You Betcha Con?
Yeah, no, we have Galaxy Con that comes through. But Galaxy Con is great. I usually try to bring the kids. I want to say last time we were there were 5 comic vendors. I mean, it's much more pop culture. They have a huge video game area, and it's fun. We go check everything out. But considering I have been into comics since I've been a kid, on and off for years, I actually have yet to be at an actual Comic-Con. and I booked my flight and got my hotel for Baltimore. So I'm gonna go hang out with all the peeps out there this year. So I'm really looking forward to that. I do want to take some time to dig. I think it's going to be great to see a lot of people in person.
Yeah, I heard Baltimore's only open Saturday and Sunday now. Don't go on Friday, anyone.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It should be a blast. And I don't care if they want to have some sort of restrictions, whatever. I don't give a crap.
McClay, I also want to ask you not only to answer that, but I also want to ask you, do you think, I know San Diego has that smaller thing they're doing in November, but do you think San Diego's looking back going, man, we should have just had the normal San Diego Comic-Con this year in July?
No, because they're Californian. I think that the craziness in California, whether you agree with it or not, there's a lot of restrictions still in California. And I think it's almost impossible to put a con that big on in a place where the restrictions are still so strict and could be getting stricter. Right now, here's the thing though, New York's getting ready to put on their con. So we'll see what happens with that. Right. That's, when is that?
October, October 7th to the 10th.
Okay.
So I did put a link in the chat that has all these upcoming conventions that are coming up. You got Comic-Con Ukraine in Kiev, Ukraine, Helsinki Comic Festival in Finland. But yeah.
With San Diego down though, Brian, is that gonna boost all the other cons? I mean, we don't have our Mecca, not that the group of us didn't necessarily travel to San Diego Comic-Con every year, but is that going to be good for the Baltimores, for the Detroits, for the Jacksonville's?
Yeah, I like from a Baltimore. I go to Baltimore every year. That's the one con I go to, and for the longest time, Baltimore would happen, and then like a week after, New York Comic-Con would happen. I like the fact that New York Comic-Con is before Baltimore now, because a lot of times when you try to do that deal hunting on Sundays, a lot of people are like, nah, I'm going to New York in like 2 weeks. I'll just hold on to it and try to sell it then. Now they're like, I've gone through New York, gone through Baltimore. It's Sunday. Let's make a deal. I don't want to hold on to this anymore. So,
that's a great question, because that actually came up in a conversation the other night. Somebody said, what were the deals like on Sunday? And I think they were talking to maybe Phil or somebody that was at the RaleighCon. RaleighCon, is that what it was?
Yeah, it was Raleigh.
Raleigh. Okay. So
GalaxyCon Raleigh.
So one of the questions was, what were the deals like on Sunday? And I can't remember if he answered, but for some reason I thought that people had been mentioning that like the deals aren't that great. As a matter of fact, that not only the deals not that great, we were kind of joking about it earlier about booth bait. You know what I mean? That there was multiple books that people asked, hey, I'd like to, what's the price on that book? Or even had a price on the book and said, can I see that book to buy it? And they said, it's not for sale. And it's like, so that's part of my worries. I kind of feel like in the past, it always felt like con prices were so high compared to other prices that I don't know if they can do that anymore and get away with it like they have been. People are just going to get angry.
I like hitting that like $5 to $10, those $5-$10 boxes on Sunday.
Yes.
And then get like, it's not the best deals, but $5-$10 boxes, and they're going, hey, $2 a book right now or whatever. And you can find a bunch of stuff that's just not even run fillers, just those in between keys or in between issues, or the cover arts that pops that people are always looking out for, the Miss Marvels, the Captain Marvel, and I can't even think of her name now. The DC character,
Mary Marvel,
that Hughes did a lot of covers for.
Oh,
Big Boobs McGee,
Black Cat,
Power Girl,
Black Cat,
Power Girl.
Big Boobs McGee, Power Girl.
Yeah,
I know.
Power Girl.
That was good.
There are people will always find good deals. I think. I still think that there are a lot of people that don't know what's out there or what's in their boxes, so you'll be able to find those. But I think the day has passed where you're looking through $1 and $2 bins and pulling out great books constantly. I think that day's passed. I think
you need to carry a cell phone jammer with you.
that's exactly it. Did anybody here go to any of the cons the last week?
I haven't.
No.
I know John from 616 was up at Terrific Con.
I wanted to ask if people were walking around more with their cell phones, because I got a message from my buddy Jesse James Comics. He's making a drive up to your neck of the woods, Tony, Minneapolis. He's going all the way up to Minneapolis to buy like a 20,000 book collection, and then on his way up there, he's stopping at all the stores along the way and going through their stuff and buying stuff, and then on the way back he's doing the same. He said that on the way up there, he's like, every store he's been into, it's nothing but people looking at their phones the whole time, just constantly looking at phones, every book. And it was just blew him away. And I said, wow, man, that's kind of crazy. And so that made me think, are we going to see that at cons? You're just going to see people with phones.
Oh yeah. Give people time to learn and build a knowledge base for those people that are new to comic book collecting or new to collecting certain areas. The phone is just the most I still see people with the paper and pencil lists yet. I still see quite a few of those, but I definitely see a younger fan base coming in that might not have the 20 years worth of experience, that they'll need that informational database while they build that up.
Yeah, they use phones all the time down here. Any shop I go in, like, it's constant. You see 5 people in there, and they're all on the phone, pulling books, searching through them. Like, everywhere you go down here.
You get digging through long boxes though. You ever feel that like you got the one guy who's like 2 boxes over, and he's coming in your direction? You're like, I don't want to miss a damn thing right now. This is my box.
That's when you increase your wingspan.
Yeah, no, you like if you go past it and the guy picks something out of it, you're like, what did he grab? God dang it, I missed that. It is pressure. Like, you don't want to miss anything. So I get the motivation, because you pull up the key collector and it tells you, these are the numbers: 310, 318, 319, 324. But it kind of takes the fun out of it.
I know there's still There's still that gut instinct, that gut feeling of flipping through books and looking for something that's striking to you to add to your collection, whether it be just a cover or just a title, something that entices you to read or collect that book. There's an aspect of that sort of digging through bins that I really enjoy quite a bit.
Finding new stuff.
Yeah, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying that's what it is as far as them on their phones.
Some people might not even be looking books up. They've just transitioned from a notebook to
exactly
the notes on your phone now, where they have their checklist there.
Yep.
CLZ, I'm constantly on CLZ going through because I can never remember, and I'm tired of buying doubles and triples.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah, I'm with you though, Andy. I like to be as prepared as I can, but once I get there, I'm just gonna go on gut and memory. And if I miss it, if I didn't recognize the cover, that's bad on me. Next time I'll come more prepared.
I got a good question. When we get to the point where we're back at these cons, say when we go to Baltimore and we all meet up in Baltimore, what are you going to be looking for? Is there things that, don't give away your grails, but I want to know, is there something, certain niche comics, niche stuff that you're going to be looking for that you're excited to look for?
Oh yeah. Golden Age all day. Pre-code stuff. I'm so ready to dig back in boxes. I can remember Heroes 2 years ago, digging in boxes with Lauren, pulling out Eries like it was. There's just something about that. That's what I'm saying.
Cheap DC bronze horror books, man. Some Wrightson and
yeah. Those are the ones.
That's stuff I like to look for at cons. Even like the copper, like I said, I love those $5 to $10 boxes, and just find books that normally I wouldn't buy, or hey, I'm not going to buy that on eBay, but it's sitting right here, and if I pick up a handful of them, then you can kind of haggle a little bit. So those are the type of books that I don't really have. The only grail that I'm kind of on the hunt for is that Disney Comics and Stories #1. But I'm not in the I don't have the purse to buy it right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
almost takes
definitely
too
focusing
long.
on. Oh, go ahead, man.
Oh no, like if you're looking through a phone and there's like tons of books at this con, it almost takes too long to like. You're gonna feel like FOMO all the time. So like having that knowledge base allows you to like
Right.
super fast. And when there's so much, it might be an advantage not to use the phone.
Yeah, you're right. Try to memorize it.
Yeah, that memorizing it though, that's it's tough. My brain's like overloaded, and there's smoke coming out of my ears, and it's like
It is. That's where I
holy
like.
shit.
I like to attack convention bins with a generational mindset. Like the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, I'm looking for all those 90 books that everybody says were overprinted, and I'm grabbing some of those keys that are now starting to see some value appreciation. I'm going to be doing the same thing for 2000s books.
Yep.
Late 90s transitioning into 2000s on up to 2005, 2006, 2007. And then you're going to see the dwindling of the newsstand edition of books up until like 2012 to 2014, something around there. So digging through those bins, looking for those really scarce newsstand prints in the mid 2000s. And like there's so many indie first appearances that are really underappreciated and undervalued and overlooked, in my opinion. There's tons of stuff out of when Image first started that people just haven't had a lot of interest yet, and maybe that generational cycle will come through and then it'll spike again.
Yeah, Youngblood still sucks.
There's
Andy,
definitely some hits and there's definitely some misses.
Andy, you stole mine exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. Those a lot of those 90s books. I mean, we know like Spawn 1 newsstand in a 9.8 is a $1,000 book now. The first Angela in a 9.8 in a newsstand went for over $1,000 this week. I mean, those are books that you're going to find out there at a con. You have to be super picky and find those minty ones, but you could get that in a $5 bin and get it graded and make a gigantic ROI if you're looking to sell.
Yeah. I like picking up like that one-off stuff, like the Devil's Due G.I. Joe books. And
Yep,
just
that's what I'm looking for.
Just like I said, the stuff that you wouldn't normally buy or you're aware of, but you might not have at your LCS, or my LCS doesn't carry a lot of back issues. So I like going to cons and digging into those because also, I'm not gonna lie, those $5 to $10 boxes seem to be right here. So it's stand up.
You have to
not
get on your
down
knees
here on the bottom with
Great
ass
point.
in your face.
Great point. Listen,
Yeah.
if you're a dealer at a con, trust me, I get it that it's hard to have space, but you will sell more of those books that are on the floor if you take them off the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can be like
old.
Dino and find a freaking Dave Wilkins Skeletor variant for like $3.
You know what I'm looking for? I'm this year that I really want to find. Like, I want to go and find like cool Archie innuendo covers. That's what I want to find. I love that shit.
Yeah.
I think I want to do for a con first is I think I want to bring my mini folding camping table so I can take box by box off the floor and put it at about chest level and sit there and just flip through them standing up and save myself a lot of back pain over the course of 3 days.
Those
You need
four
one of those chairs that hangs on your butt and you just sit down onto.
Yeah, the lean post. Didn't Mel have one of those in the Midtown line?
But I want to give out a shout out to Mitch Joel in the chat who had some great stuff in there talking about the industry's done it to us where everything's a key in terms of variance and people are often searching on their phones. Also other people in the chat, Digger Jim, got aka Mr. Bolo, Jeff Ingram. Appreciate everyone joining us. But we're gonna move along from cons to controversy. Like what I did there. Dan, tell us what's going on with ScarJo.
Right, ScarJo is suing Disney for the day and date release that they did.
It ain't so, Joe.
Because she says, it makes her miss out on a lot of potential profits because there was a second week drop in the Black Widow film, which is a bigger drop than ever in any Marvel film, and this might be the lowest grossing Marvel film of all time. And yeah, and also it's inspiring possibly Emma Stone to also do the same kind of lawsuit for Cruella.
Yeah, from Cruella.
And Disney, they said how much she got already to kind of like shame her, I guess, but they didn't say that they didn't do what they were accused of. They didn't actually outright deny, like,
Yeah, they just said
directly.
it doesn't hold merit, right?
However, yeah, the lawyers, Berlinski and Kazowitz, that are working on this case, I mean, they work for Google, so I don't think they're gonna, create a frivolous lawsuit necessarily, unless there's some sort of merit behind the case. And this is a big case because, as we know, a lot of media is going digital, and digital streaming is becoming the way people are consuming. But there hasn't been deals worked out that allow talent to get money from that stuff. And companies, they do a lot of fuzzy math to keep as much money as possible. So
Well, you said Google. I'm not as worried about that. Now, if you would have said they work for Facebook, I'd be more worried because then you got, it's fact checked at that point.
yeah, yeah. I mean, but it's interesting because you always need a rich person to start this kind of case. So like there's a lot of massive conglomerates and they kind of screw over a lot of people, but no one is rich enough to hire the lawyers that can go against the rich company's lawyers. So this is sort of that kind of situation as well. Like, we can all say like, she has 20 million, which is what they're trying to say. Disney's trying to do is shame her, I guess. But I think they know it's more than that. I guess there's like a lot of repercussions, and this is a lawsuit a lot of people are going to keep their eyes on in the industry, especially producers and producers as well, not just actors.
Yeah, I don't like stuff like this because it's often you get put in the court of public opinion right away. And to be honest, I don't know what the contract says, and it's a he said, she said, back and forth. So then you automatically get you get the part where they'll be like, what is she complaining about? How much money has she made off of the MCU alone? Look what they've done for her. But to be honest, that's fine. But if you're doing a contract and it's written a certain way and they violate it, she has merit for the case. It's just, we don't know. The devil's in the details, but I'm also curious on what everyone else on the panel thinks.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it like, look at what the MCU's done for her, but this is her last hurrah too, right? So, I mean, that's got to probably play a little part in it, I would think. Like, let me milk this last one for all it's worth.
It's really just an episode of What If, right? What if Scarlett?
Yeah, exactly. So
what if Black Widow sued Disney?
Yeah, and I just wonder though if just being the last one, had something to do with the way it went down like this.
But apparently Kevin Feige's also upset about this.
I did see that.
She's siding with Scarlett Johansson. She doesn't like the way Disney did not really communicate clearly with her when they were asked for communication. It's all going to come out though. When we go on trial, we're going to see all this stuff. So yeah, we'll see.
Well, and it's funny, and it's funny because I read an article like that too, and they were saying, "Hey, it's one thing if ScarJo gets mad, but if Kevin Feige feels a certain way, he's not going to get in the middle, but you need to make him, he's a little bit more important to make happy for what he does for the MCU."
My feelings are, if there was a contract and the contract was explained to make her feel a certain way, and they went. I don't know. My thoughts are always, don't mess with my money. Like once you start messing with my money, then it becomes a whole different ball game. And I don't care if you made $20 million off the deal. If you were supposed to make 40 million or 30 million or 21 million, an extra $1 million is a lot of money, and you just don't mess with people's money like that.
Well, one thing it does is it brings a lot of information to the forefront of, for how many years were we going, why don't they just put it on Disney Plus already? Well, we kind of know a little bit reason why now is there was contract that had a box office number tied to it.
Yep. Well, here's the thing that always blew me away about these Marvel movies and these big, Avengers Endgame and all these big movies is that they're paying a lot of some of the big actors big money to be in. If you got 10 big actors being in a movie, that's a lot of money that you're dropping on these actors. So when does it get to a point to where like we might not be seeing these big team up movies anymore and stuff like that because it's going to be so expensive to pay all the actors and everything?
Yeah. We talked about this on Drunken Chat a little bit this last week. And 2 points I kind of want to make. Number one, I agree with you all that yes, it's her contract, it's her money. If she deserves to make more, if that was part of the deal, she should be allowed to sue. If she's in the wrong, then she won't win the lawsuit. So be it. If she's in the right, then she will win the lawsuit. So be it. I think she definitely has merit. It's no different than like if you're a band who gets a cut of the cover, right? And then the owner of the club starts letting people in the side door.
Or start streaming it. Like what if the owner of the club said, I'll give you cover. I'll give you half of the cover. And then he doesn't tell you that he's going to throw it on his YouTube page, which has, 1 million followers that loves watching, live bands at his place.
Right. So, I think it's, if I was in that position, yeah, I would be pissed off too. And I think the fact that Feige, I think any of them would have sued in that position, not just Scarlett.
Do you think she was like all smiles the first weekend, and then after that, she was like, "Whoa, hold up, wait a minute, what's going on here?"
I'm sure she was just disappointed that after all these years that her feature had to come at this time. You know what I mean? Coming off a global pandemic, we had seen the first trailer over a year ago. I mean, that's people were already bored with it by the time the movie came out. You had to kind of rev them up again. So it was just a really bad situation. I don't think there was a good solution, but once Disney made that choice, they should have gone to her. They should have known. I bet whoever made that choice didn't even know that was in her contract.
Yeah.
Like they should have gone to her and renegotiated at release and said, okay, we're going to release at home. I know you get a cut of the box office. So, we're going to sell, we predict we're going to sell X number of, whatever's, to the home buyers. We'll whatever. So she would have agreed and she would have made more money and it wouldn't have ended up in a lawsuit. But the interesting part to me is really all the pushback. There was a lot of pushback, maybe not so much in the chat tonight, a little bit, but there's a lot of pushback against Scarlett Johansson for that. That's curious to me. Like I don't know. I'm not
and that's what I'm talking about. It's like you get that court of public opinion, but to be honest, put yourself in her shoes. And I don't know. I don't know how I'd feel about the same thing.
There were some vehement opinions. Like she's spoiled. She got her chance. She got her feature. She's making $20 million. RDJ didn't get that kind of pushback when he basically pushed Terrence Howard out of Iron Man 2.
And he also brought the salaries from all those others up through his negotiation and his power. Everyone wants to be the next Keanu Reeves from The Matrix, and he back-ended his salary into those box office sales and carried home a nice payday.
I mean, at the end of the day, go ahead.
No, they delayed the release, right? And Chinese government delayed the release of Black Widow, which some believe was a conspiracy to tank the movie, because then perfect copies would be bootlegged all over China with this little delay, which will just kind of destroy the box office for an American picture to soup up the Chinese film industry. And it could be true. I mean, honestly, the Chinese government does do fishy things like that, so I wouldn't be surprised, because they are really trying to push the domestic product. So they kind of, on top of the day and date, China destroyed the Chinese box office for this film as well, which is a big deal for these films.
I'm surprised Chinese box office does anything, because I lived in China for 5 years. You can get perfect digital DVDs sometimes even before release. If the movie came out in the UK a week earlier, you can watch it at home before it hits the theater. I think people are going to the theater for the experience, for the popcorn, for the.
Well, I have seen like most of the bootlegs. They're very good, right? They're rarely like crystal clear, unless there's some sort of stream release somewhere. They'll be close.
Well, that's another thing you're getting out of these Disney Plus is they're on torrent sites or Kodi or whatever, and a lot of people are watching it for free.
But good news is Colin Yost, her husband, got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles writing gig for the live action reboot. I believe. I guess it's a reboot.
The reboot of the reboot of the reboot.
Ooh. The rebootathon.
At the end of the day, a contract is a contract. It's black and white, right? That's what they had in place. But I'm with Tony and I'm with Mitch that choices had to be made. It was a global pandemic, but they literally pay people hundreds of millions of dollars a year to navigate these situations so that stuff like this doesn't happen for bad PR.
Yeah. Dwayne Johnson's not suing over.
No, he's not. But like, who at Disney doesn't go and renegotiate this with her and take care of her? Just because this might be her hurrah for this film doesn't mean she's not going to be a great asset for Disney later on as an earner. So how do they not stop what they're doing and look into this and at least give 10 interns pay through the weekend to dig through all these files like most other attorney offices are? Well, you know, I mean, I'm paraphrasing heavily. I'm just making stuff up. But I mean, how do they not at least make the effort and save that money and keep an earner in their corner for the future, whether she's doing something Marvel related or not? I mean, it's just kind of odd. And it honestly kind of sucks the wind out of the sail for me to even want to watch the movie now. I still haven't seen it. It just adds drama to this situation for me.
She just signed on to The Last of Us. Are you going to watch that?
Don't pull my leg on that one. I'm not falling for that one.
You should see the movie, Andy. It's a good movie. I mean, it's not the best Marvel movie out there, but I mean, it's a solid popcorn.
Yeah, it's enjoyable, and I enjoyed seeing it in the theater. I'm hoping to see Suicide Squad in the theater myself.
Yeah.
Speaking of movies and shows, getting over to Amazon, right, Tony? Your Paper Girls.
Yes.
They just had a little bit of a news where what just happened over there.
Yeah, Brian K. Vaughan's Paper Girls, as most of us know, is filming actually right now over at Amazon Studios. There are 2 showrunners for the show. The news this week was that one of them, the Stephanie Folsom, has stepped down. They didn't really get into the reasons why. I don't know enough to know the background of the 2 showrunners. You know, obviously this is a female-led cast. We've got the 4 lead characters are young girls. We've got an older version of the one girl played by Ali Wong. So in today's world, it might be a good idea to have the show be run by, or at least the voice of a female in there. So I'm not sure what that means for the show. Obviously, they're going to move forward, but Andy, I know Comic Man Andy, you and I are well, along with other people here, I'm sure, but we've talked about Brian K. Vaughan quite a bit. What's your prognosis on Paper Girls?
I'm not following the news as heavily as I should, but I will say that regardless of what news hits, I'm extremely excited because you've got Why the Last Man and now Paper Girls are 2 of BKV's first things hitting the screen, right? I'm a little worried about Why the Last Man, and that's not the topic at the moment. Paper Girls, I'm more concerned for because it was a more fleshed out, more experienced Brian K. Vaughan. So Why the Last Man, whether it sinks or swims and does well, was a very early BKV writing, right? It's a very early BKV series. Well, Paper Girls is when he's more developed and more streamlined as a writer. So if Paper Girls doesn't do well, what kind of pace or what kind of tone does that set for anything else BKV hitting the screen? Saga. Excuse me. What? I had something in my throat there for a second. But Paper Girls is just a phenomenal sci-fi type of. I'm really excited for that. I love what he does in his writing. So whether it's somebody leaving for creative differences or contractual issues, I just kind of stop wading through some of this news and information so that it doesn't affect my perspective of a show or series when it does hit.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think you have to wonder why. Like, what? It definitely makes you wonder why. What's going on? I mean, if it's Brian K. Vaughan, like if he's hard to deal with because he wants it a certain way, is he going to get into like the Malar syndrome? I think it just makes you worry a little bit about his properties in general. Seeing this go down like this,
Yeah, well, they're saying production's not impacted on it, and it looks like she did the majority of the writing. Dan, I know you probably have some more information on this as well, but yeah, and it says that Amazon and Legendary TV opted to part ways with her, but that the production wasn't impacted, and Christopher C. Rogers is now the solo showrunner. But she's written other stuff too, like she co-wrote Toy Story 4. She's actually written 2 episodes for that Amazon Lord of the Rings series coming up. Ooh. And she's also written 2 episodes of that Star Wars Resistance series. So I think you might not see it right up front, but whatever that production going past whatever they have done so far is, if you see an impact, that might be where you see it. But
has she said anything on Twitter or Instagram or anything about what's going on?
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Yeah.
I'm waiting for the sequel, Paper Women.
That was a El Beardo joke.
It's a series about time travel. So
yeah, going back to Andy, you mentioned Brian K. Vaughan. I'm not sure what role he's taking in this. I mean, no,
it's not whether or not he's. It's not whether or not
he's got to be like an executive producer.
But I don't think he's not the showrunner. He's not even the writer on the show.
It's all about people's perception and perspective of what kind of pace that will set. Right. I mean, even if he's not really playing a role in the moment, it's all about that perspective, right? Because we eat with our eyes, we listen with our ears. It's just wait a minute, I'm kind of getting at if it flops and flops hard, who's going to have interest in doing another BKV storyline or story?
Well, I mean, no, I don't know, because Alan Moore, right? His stuff hits, doesn't hit, they keep doing it. Hollywood is emotionally, it's creatively bankrupt. They'll try anything, and we don't know what happened, why they broke apart or whatever, and it could be anything. Like people just need to be able to work together, and maybe they can't work together. I mean, this happened. This happens to movies, but nothing really comes of it. It could be just creative differences. We just don't have enough details.
Yeah.
Ali Wong's in the show, huh?
She is. Yep.
I know her. I have her number. I didn't know she was in the show.
Put her, we can throw up a 7th window here. Let's get her on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. No, I haven't called her. in a long time.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to the show, though. Like you said, Andy, I'm putting a lot of pressure on this the same way that you are. If this is a big hit, I think there's going to be a lot of comparisons to Stranger Things. Have it be known, though, Paper Girls actually came out before Stranger Things first aired. So if anything, Stranger Things could have plucked story elements or ideas from Paper Girls. Obviously, I don't know what they're planning on rating this. It's coming out on Amazon. You don't have to pick PG or PG-13 or R, because I mean in the comic the girls are smoking and swearing their heads off, and so it'll be interesting. It'll be kind of like a Stranger Things with I don't know, a much different vibe, I guess. Not quite as campy and corny.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to it, though.
Yep. I think it'll be interesting to see once it does make it, if it makes it all the way through.
A lot of fans on this. A lot of fans on this storyline. A lot of people looking forward to it.
Yep, totally agree.
I think you mentioned the Lord of the Rings. God, maybe we can talk about that next week. There was a little bit of news on that. They set a release date for that $420 million budget to shatter the record of budgets for one season of a TV show.
How many episodes?
I don't know. I don't know if they've announced it or if they have. I'm not sure what that is, but
yeah, well, they just the premiere date or whatever, right?
Yeah, I mean it's a year from now, so
September 22.
They're sounded like they were finishing up filming, so there's a lot of post-production work. But
it's like, how much green screen is in it is what I want to know. How much editing and
I don't know. 420, that's a lot of locations you can be filming on. But
yeah, I don't know, man. I've seen a lot of comments in the chat about how the COVID stuff. Everything's different. Things just aren't the same anymore, man. Like not even anywhere close to the same, and we have to just ride what we can get. I think at this point,
not that it affects this because it's going to be on Amazon, but have you seen like how constrained movie to streaming to video that timeline's so short now? I remember back in the day where it seems like you'd almost wait a year for the movie to come on VHS and still be $100 at Suncoast. Now it was like 3 months right before COVID, pretty much like hit the theaters. 3 months later, it was on pay to rent or whatever. Now it's going from theaters. I'm saying not like Disney Plus stuff, but you're hitting theaters. It's hitting a streaming service within a month after that. And then it's the free streaming service within a month after that. It's so crazy.
The collector's edition at Target. Yeah, I know I got you beat by a couple of years, but no, seriously. I mean, in the 80s, it was years.
Yeah, I waited so long for Top Gun. Like I remember my kid at the playground, my friend at the playground said he had it bootleg. I was all bragging to my parents, but never got it. Laserdisc or whatever it might have been. But yeah, it seemed like it was like 3 years for Top Gun between movie theaters and video rental.
Yeah, Top Gun. What a great storyline. So that being said, the little segue there. Storylines. What is one arc or graphic novel story that you love that you think people should read? Who should I start with here? I tell you what, I'll go first. Old School Kate's God Country. If you have not read that and you have someone that's been touched by Alzheimer's, I highly recommend that read. It's really good. It puts a perspective on things, a different perspective on things. And it's just an all around good story. And I think that with a movie coming on it as well, it'll be interesting to see how tight the movie stays to the book.
Didn't Donnie write the screenplay as well, I believe?
Yes. So it should be pretty tight, and I think that one could open up a lot of possibilities for a lot of other Kate stuff down the road. But just story wise, yeah. But just Baby Teeth is good. I would like to see that one. Yep. Redneck too. There's so many good ones, even going back to ones before that, but it's a good story with a lot of meaning in there, so that's mine. But Brian, what you thinking? Brian, Simple Man, Brian.
Oh, me? So I'm going back old school. I always talk about how my comic collection is a lot of nostalgia driven. So one of the biggest influences that got me hyped, that kind of got me out of Archie Comics into Batman, was that Batman issue 426 to 429, that Death in the Family, right? I look back on it now, even at my time as a childhood, that was like, there was no internet, right? That was the book that I remember getting the first FOMO on, seeing the first hype about trying to get that issue where Robin died. And before American Idol, there was Denny O'Neil who threw up a 900 number, and you would call in to say, hey, does Jason Todd live or does Jason Todd die? A lot of people hated Jason Todd at that point, but the numbers, it was like 5,343 wanted him to die, 5,271 wanted him to live. So they had printed 2 different issues, but he ended up dying, and that's what we got. And I remember that was like the first book in the comic book store. That was also a card store. I was more collecting cards, but seeing that going, oh, I got to have that book. You couldn't search the internet for it. So at the time, me being 11 years old, I thought, well, I'll just get the trade paperback. It'll be worth so much more because it's got all the issues in it. Well, that wasn't the case. But Jim Starlin writing, right? You got the Mignola covers for those issues. There's just so much goodness within those. I've since gone and picked single issues up in 9/8 just for my PC, just because that story arc has one of the most biggest impacts from me in all of comics.
Yep, that's what it's about. You know, the ones that stick with you and the ones that last. So yeah, I might have to investigate that one for sure. McClay, what you thinking? Give us one.
All right, I've got 3 things, right? And it all depends on how knowledgeable a person is with comics, right? I'll share my screen here real quick. Number 1 is if they know comics, Superman, Batman, that type of stuff, and they haven't been into it for a while, always my go-to is Kingdom Come. Like that is. But they have to have some knowledge in DC Comics, right? So if they have a little bit of knowledge, I go Kingdom Come. If they have a little bit of a knowledge, but not like deep, on Green Lantern, Rebirth, one of my all-time favorite storylines. But if they have no knowledge of comics or anything, in my opinion, the best trade paperback to hand somebody, like other than like if it's a big Marvel or DC book, the stories of Alan Moore in DC. You get Killing Joke, you get whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow, you get the here I'll read off of it. Yeah, you get everything. It says here, so you get Action Comics 584, Batman Annual 11, Batman the Killing Joke, DC Presents 85, Detective 549 to 550, Green Lantern 182, the Omega Men, Secret Origins. These are all like major tales that Alan Moore changed the status quo at DC. Absolutely amazing. One of my favorite all-time stories is, I forget what it's called. Like, what do you give the Man of Tomorrow for? Yeah. So like that's one of my favorite stories. And then of course the Killing Joke is like, it's like crack for comic fans.
Yeah, you're not wrong there.
Yeah, that is a good one there for sure. I like it. Alberto Jefe, what you thinking?
Is this even a question?
Does it start with the S?
In all seriousness, it will always and forever be Saga for me. Yeah. Saga is probably the most relatable comic book that I've ever read. Trade paperback comic book. It's relatable from many different points. It tackles a lot of things that I think our society has tackled, is currently tackled, and might continue to tackle for the future. It's accepting in some places where we should be more accepting as a people. It kicks you right in the feels, drags you through the mud, gives you just a little bit of hope, and then leaves you crying when you don't want to be crying. It's seriously the first comic book that I have actually shed tears to reading. And we're on that cusp of that coming back at some point here soon. They've been saying it for years. But that is the one comic book that whenever somebody says, what's the first thing that I should read, or what do you think I should read, it'll always and forever be Saga trade paperback number 1, to the point where I just ordered 10 more copies to add to giveaways coming up here soon for my own channel, so that people that want an opportunity to read that can have that opportunity. And if they don't, they can pass it along to a friend.
That's pretty cool. I definitely knew you were going the Saga route, though. But
Our family story is intrinsically tied with how we discovered that book and how we began collecting that book. So that's a whole another half-hour story there.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, the backstories are what makes these special to us, and I mean, got us going down that rabbit hole on them. But Dan, what you thinking, man?
All right, so since McClay said 3, I'm going to go with 3, but I have a thematic connection to the 3. I'm naming Planetary by Warren Ellis, written by Warren Ellis, Preacher, written by Garth Ennis, and Top 10 by Alan Moore. And Top 10 is hilarious, by the way. Like, Alan Moore is very funny. He doesn't, like, not enough people know how funny he is. He's actually one of the funniest writers. But the theme that connects all these stories is it's kind of about what happens when people have great power and they do not take responsibility, and how how someone needs to make them take responsibility. Like, that's basically kind of what happened. That's like a theme in those 3, and they're also like somewhat self-contained. You kind of don't need prior knowledge for any of these, like the whole world was built in Top 10 and Planetary and Preacher, right? It's like whole from issue 1. So they're really nice, and they all have endings. They're not too long. Preacher's the longest, right? And yeah, I think they're great because you don't need to have any knowledge, and you can get the depth of like what comics can be, how far they can push. Yeah.
Whenever I think of
There's
Alan
urgency, and they feel urgent. These stories feel urgent. That's what I love about them too.
Yeah.
Whenever I think of Alan Moore, I always think of like Donald Sutherland from Animal House, like playing Alan Moore.
Yeah, that's a good one there. Tony, what you thinking, man? What you got?
I don't know. I didn't really think about this ahead of time. I'm a huge Saga fan, along with Andy. I think it's a super important book. I hope we do get it on screen someday, just so more people will be exposed to it. I think that'll be just, I think it could be the Star Wars of the next generation, honestly. But I was leaning toward, I know McClay, I know you and I are both big Sandman fans. Like, I think that whole run transcends the art of comics as it was. Between him and Alan Moore, they really elevated the whole industry as an art form. But if I was gonna pick one, I'm gonna actually go with my X-Men and the Dark Phoenix saga. Ooh. Actually, and people get sick of that because they've seen a couple movies and whatever, Dark Phoenix and X-Men. That is the perfect jumping on point for anybody who's reading into. If there's a lot of people who know who the mutants are. You might have seen the movies. How many fans today have gone back, read from 1 to whatever? Nobody. You can't. You might know who was on the original team, who was on the next team, but that is the perfect jumping on point. You've got that character, Kitty Pryde, who's just joining in that very first issue. So you get that, like in ER, the first episode, you get Noah Wiley. You can follow the newbie as they join the cohesive team. It runs through the introduction of the Hellfire Club and the White Queen. You get the first Dazzler. You get the first, obviously, you get that epic battle where Wolverine is in the sewers. What is that?
132.
No. Yes.
132.
132. I mean, that is. I just thinking of that sequence just gives me chills. It's so important. And then where she annihilates the whole planet, and you get introduced to the cosmic side of the X-Men, the Shi'ar, the Imperial Guard. And they sentence her to death, and then Cyclops stands with her, trying to, it's hopeless, but there's just so many images from that are going to be on screen at some point when they're done right. They botched that twice now, but Feige won't stand for that. He'll have his own someday. But it's perfect Claremont. It's perfect Marvel. It's a great jumping on point. And if you just read that section, it'll tell you everything you need to know about, what happened with the originals, what happened with this new class, and leading into the future. So love it.
It's a really good one that I forgot about that I think is probably one of the best books you can give to a comic fan that will just blow them away if they've never read it. And that's the Tower of Babel trade paperback that Grant Morrison did, where, Batman just has to save the day by not being basically a superhero, by using his head and stuff. And that is one of the best storylines. So that was one I forgot that is just amazing.
Yeah, that one was good. But that Claremont stuff is hard to beat. I will say that. Claremont X-Men is just, that's tough. You can't beat it.
Any X-Men title's beatable. I'm just kidding. I'm not the biggest X-Men fan, but I do like some.
We couldn't tell.
But yeah, give credit where credit's due. I do like some of the Claremont run. So I like doing stuff like this, and I think next week we might kick it up a notch. It's very cliche, but I want to put the gauntlet down now to give you guys time to think about it. Next week will be the very, very cliche. You got to get rid of every book but one. What's it going to be and why? So we're gonna that's what we're going to talk about during the show next week. So stay tuned for that. But for now,
every single issue, or like a short box, or like a run, or every single
short box,
single book, singular. Tony, singular.
One
book. House of Vernon. You got a cargo shorts on. One book will fit in there.
And you better bring it to the table. We want to see it. We want to see it, whatever it is.
And that's cool.
Remember,
you can
this
say
is for real.
One book. That's why it's going to be a little bit difficult.
Oh, come on, Alberto. Shaking his head over there.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to pick next week. But for now, we got to make our pick for our one book, or two if you're Tony, 3, 4, new comic book day tomorrow. And today with DC. So I'm going to go.
Oh.
McClay, what book are you getting tomorrow?
What the hell was that?
That was my randomizer. And then
there was a book that came out a month ago now that I never knew anything about. People have heard about this character, this story before. I guess it has something to do with Netflix, and it's the MFKZ series. And I didn't know about this series at all until somebody showed me the Garbage Pail Kid variant, which this one is freaking amazing. So number 2 is coming out this week, and here's the Garbage Pail Kids variant. So just because I found out about the Garbage Pail Kids stuff, this is the book that I'm picking up.
Ooh. Yeah. So the number 2, it's not an incentive though, right? It's just a regular price variant.
Yeah, that one was an open order. The first one was a 1 in 10, I believe.
Yeah.
And even though it was a 1 in 10, a lot of people still got allocated for that.
Yep.
Yeah, the story looks crazy, really cool. The character design on them is really cool. Kind of reminds me of like Sam Keith, like old school, remember the little things in the Max, those little guys in the Max.
Yeah.
Yep.
A mix with like Scud, the disposable assassin type art, really, really cool stuff that I'm getting into just now because of the Garbage Pail Kids variant. So,
yep. I think Tony had that first one his time. Didn't you last time it came out, Tony?
He did. When the number 1 came out, that was Tony's pick.
Yep, I thought so.
Yeah, good stuff. There we go. Yeah.
There it is. He was holding back on us too.
That's the only one I have.
Oh, okay.
And I ordered like more copies of number 1, hoping to get more 1 in 10s, but I got allocated.
That's how you know about that allocation thing.
Yeah. Allocation. We're headed for allocation. Tony Fix.
You know how when you play fantasy football and you draft some guy and they blow up And then for the next 2 years, you just follow that player and that team way more than you did before. You know what I'm talking about? That's kind of how I feel about Kushala. Like I when she was, I don't know, a year and a half ago, I started speccing on her books, just grabbing as many as I can of her, the 1 in 50 and all the other variants I could find. And now that's kind of panning out. And that makes me so amped just to read I want that Spirits of Vengeance, Spirit Rider #1, her one shot. The 1 in 25 is beautiful. The Bill Sienkiewicz. I hope it's going to lead into an ongoing because they announced it as an ongoing a while before. But that's the book that I'm most looking forward to tomorrow. Seems like they changed their name maybe from Demon Rider to Spirit Rider. Maybe that was a Disney decision. I don't know, but everybody calls her Kushala now anyway, so whatever. But that's my book.
Nice.
Go for it.
He had just one.
Oh, beer.
Caught everybody off guard.
Yeah.
Speaking of finding a team and sticking with them, I'm sticking with that Tinian freight train that's just been rocketing down the rail line. And Nice House on the Lake #3 is out tomorrow. I am amped and pumped to read. I'm going to read that one in the parking lot before I even head home. That's where I'm at with this book. Is I'm excited to see where this is going. It's a little weird, a little quirky, but he's just delivering this story extremely well, in my opinion.
Up the windows.
Who's that guy making out with in the parking lot? Nothing. It's a book. He's reading a book.
Somebody call the cops. Yeah, that's good.
Dan Kim.
Yeah. So I will say, well, with Nice House, to be honest, I can't remember all these characters. Like I need half of them to die, I think, for me to like follow what the hell's. There's like too many characters almost right now. But Basilisk issue 3, because for me it's like almost great. I don't know yet, and I still don't know yet. I'm just like, man, is this gonna be great? I feel like it's got everything, all the ingredients, but I don't know yet. I'm just like, please let this be the issue that like solidifies that this is a great series. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Nice. Yeah, I like that one as well, but I got to go with Not All Robots. The AWA,
right? Upshot.
Yep. AWA's been putting out some good stuff, so I'm anxious to see this one, and I really like the Raza cover.
Yeah.
And
they always have good creative teams and good cover artists.
Yep, no doubt. They're doing it right. So, I'm looking forward to that one. Interesting premise on it, but also I'll take over for Tony. 7 to Eternity, #17.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know you mentioned that earlier, and Tankers just put that on the chat as well.
Yep. So I like that. I like the 1 in 10 for this.
I mentioned, I was like, really? Issue 17 didn't like issue 1 come out in like 2008?
Hey,
it's been forever.
Let the beat build, right?
Yeah. I remember issues 1, and then of course those convention variants, and yeah, that was a crazy one everyone's hunting for.
Yep.
There's also a couple pretty big books coming out. Isn't that Immortal Hulk book coming out where you're supposed to find some decent information out?
That's starting to come to an end too, right?
Yeah. And then there's another one that was interesting.
Is there a Gamma Flight tomorrow?
Red Room.
Oh yeah.
Yep, Red Room
#3. Yeah.
Yep. That's sneaky good. I'm telling you.
Yes, it is.
I can see that having the cult following and just taking off.
Yeah, it could be like the what was it? The baby, the Eric Powell baby book.
Yeah,
I want to say Satan's Baby. What is it? Like
Yes, Sodomy's Baby.
Yeah,
Sodomy's Baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I know El Beardo jumped on the Tynan train. I'm riding that Tom Taylor train, man. I loved Superman Kal-El. I love that issue, and I'm staying with Tom Taylor this week. But all these series that people are talking about from Boom, my favorite to read right now is Seven Secrets. Seven Secrets number 11, Tom Taylor, Danielle DiNichilo. I'm always messing his name up. This is one of the most fun series to read. Seven Secrets number 11. That's what I'm picking up. Cover A.
Nice.
So there's the stories. There's our picks. But that leaves us, Andy, with what? One more thing.
It sure does.
All right, one more thing. We're going to go around to each panelist, and they're each going to give us one more thing, whether it's what they got going on their YouTube channel, what they ate for breakfast, if they ran out of floss, whatever it is, one more thing. We're just going to start right from the middle. Tomerlin, what do you got for us?
All right, go to Keep It Thorough Comics, go to comicbookinvest.com, Tales from the Flip Side, Simple Man's Comics, and my one more thing is I've been trying to pick up, for somebody that wasn't into Loki and didn't really finish watching all of it and spoiled it all, but whatever, I've been picking up Kang covers. So Kamala Kang here on Infinity Wars 2. Pretty cool cover, never know. And then this one's for Nico. We've got Kang taking over the White House. So
Insurrection Kang.
There you go. This one's for you, brother. there it is.
That's a tough book to find.
Yeah, it is. Lauren found that one for me. So congrats to her.
El Beardo.
Ooh, one more thing. Follow everybody here in the chat. Scroll down below and look at the description down there for everybody's YouTube channels. Follow all the panel members and support everybody in the chat and share that comic love.
Also, you're not saying it, so I'm going to say it for you. You got something big coming up Friday, right? Is it this Friday? What?
This is true. This Friday, August 6th,
Friday.
is the next Comic Dojo Whatnot auction down here in the Comic Dojo. It is a mess. There's comic books everywhere that I'm loading up for that. That's going to be a riot. I think I have more fun than the people that show up for that. I'm excited for that. We're going to crank some tunes. We're going to sling some books. We're going to have a good time.
Dan Comics has been off the hook lately. You've been doing all types of content over there, from meditation to burritos. We're making burritos and stuff over there. What do you got going on for us? Or
that's
not YouTube.
I want to talk about that. Yeah, so I started a new cooking series, right, where I do vegan recipes, and the idea is that I got laid off. I used to work at Wayne Manor, and I was a head chef, and I had to cook for Damien all the time, and Alfred, he told me he became a vegetarian, so I had to develop all these new vegetarian recipes. And since I got laid off, I'm kind of disgruntled. But I live in Bloodhaven. I don't live in Gotham City. And I talk shit on Bruce Wayne and Damian, but the running gag is I don't know they're Batman and Robin, but I just keep talking about them, and I make this food, but they're actual good recipes. And then it's and I'm talking about I don't know how he's from Asia somehow. This mysterious sun shows up out of nowhere. I don't know what's going on, and that's a lot of fun. And I'm channeling my inner David Chang while I do this. I'm pretending I'm kind of like David Chang, pissed off. So that's a lot of fun. And I have a bunch of recipes ready and backstories of living at Wayne Manor and all the weird shit going on.
Awesome. And that's at Dank Comics, right? Dank Comics on YouTube. The link's in the description if you guys need to check that out. But I enjoyed the burrito video.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
McClay. If you're probably doing something right after this. There's way you're doing podcasts and everything.
It's crazy, dude. It's pretty crazy how it's phone calls every 10 minutes around here lately. But I was excited because I was talking with the guys earlier. I'm finally going through the books for Whatnot stuff, and Flipside is going to be on Whatnot. I haven't decided when I want the first show to go off. It might be tonight. It might be tomorrow morning. I don't know. But
post dropping sales.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, man. I'm gonna try and have it mostly be comic stuff. It sounds like these guys are saying the like $10 to $20 books are probably, you know, some of the books that are selling the best and this and that. But more than anything, I don't want it just to be about comics. You know what I mean? I want it to be about action figures, cards. So I have like I have 2 cases of 89 Fleer basketball. I'm gonna one of them's an open case, so I'm just gonna bust out a box and see if somebody wants to buy an unopened box of 89 Fleer basketball. I've got garbage pail kids stuff, toys. I mean, you name it. I'm a little nervous though. I'll be honest. I'm a little nervous for the only reason that I'm like, I don't have a feel for it yet. Yeah. So that's what I'm really looking for. I love that feeling when you're kind of nervous and you don't know how things are going to go and you just jump right in. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Palms are sweaty, mom's spaghetti.
Yeah. I am, crazy things going on flip side and this community and everything that just never ends. And I continue to have fun just coming on and hanging out with my friends and talking comic books, talking collecting, talking whatever. So that's it. So if you guys are on Whatnot, and most everybody is, go follow Tales from the Flip Side. I'll tell you what I'm really looking forward to with Whatnot. And I don't know if they have it set up yet or what.
Paid?
No, well, getting paid, fucking A, getting paid.
People sell on there, right?
But I would love to get to the point where we can do a thing where you have, 3 people on and each person can sell, and
straight up QVC.
Yeah, you're just hanging out with your buddies and you're listening, whatever, you're having a game show or, do a some type of like trivia game show, like where I host the show and then you have to answer questions and whoever gets a question right is the person that gets to sell their book or something like that. You know what I mean? Like do fun stuff over there. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Tony.
Very cool. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that too, Brian. I'm glad you're jumping in. My one more thing is I'm gonna do, I only did 1 book, so I'll do 2 more things. Just I am also on Whatnot. I'm trying to find a regular time that works with my work schedule where there aren't a million sellers on it.
Just do it while you're at work, bro.
I right. Just lock the door.
What's up, guys?
What's he doing back there? Keep the short box under my desk, right? No, but I think I'm settling in on Thursdays about the time when you come home from work. There, it's not 15,000 sellers on at that time, but a lot of people, get done a little bit early and start shopping. So I'm gonna try to schedule right about 4:00 on Thursdays between 4 and 5. So I got that going on. But my actual one big thing, Brian, thanks. I wanted to thank you, Mr. Wood. I don't have it because I handed it off yesterday, but I just sent off Before Watchmen Rorschach #3 to Tori at Twin City Comics yesterday. He is going to fly across the country. I don't even know where they're doing it. He's going to get Robert De Niro to sign that bad boy.
Ooh.
There is I haven't talked to Topher to know if it's the first, but there is an appearance of Travis Bickle in that comic book. It's like a 2-page spread. It's done really well, where he picks up Rorschach as the taxi driver. So I'm really excited to get in that back. I was looking for books, asking on the Patreon on
yeah, I think we even looked like after one of these streams we were looking and we found that Rorschach.
Yeah. No, it was your idea. So I dug into that and no, it was a really good, awesome, really good one. So I can't wait to get that back.
That's going to be cool. So my one more thing, I just wanted to bring this up. I don't know if people are following NFTs at all, but I know people do collect Funkos. Did you guys see that Funko launched some NFTs today and they sold out freaking super quick? And they sold out packs, and then within the packs you had like certain cards that you could actually redeem for a Funko, but they're also being smart about it where you have to wait like a month, a time frame to redeem it for the Funko, and it's whoever redeems it. It's not like, because you know how it is, you buy your wax wallet, it goes into your wallet or whatever. It's whoever redeems it gets it. It's not whoever bought the pack gets it. So, but yeah, I don't know if
can
people
trade
follow
that
NFTs.
shit.
I thought that was cool. I was like, maybe I'll buy a pack. It was like $10, but they sold out quick as hell, and they had like everyone's getting into the NFT market. So it's crazy to watch. I'm still completely new to it, but I bought some GP Garbage Pail Kids NFTs. So I stick to the bigger pools that I know of, like Tops and things like that. But so that's enjoyable. And I will say I am editing an interview up. Mark Guggenheim, who is the showrunner for, you might know from Arrow. He created the Arrowverse, Legends of Tomorrow. But he's written a bunch of comics, talk about it on the interview. He's got a comic book coming from Dark Horse called Last Flight Out. Kick-ass comic. He gave me the first 3 issues to read digitally. Love it. Talk about it in that interview. That will be going up very shortly on my channel. So make sure, subscribe, click the bell. That way you get notified when that video hits. But Mark Guggenheim, one of the nicest guys like I've talked to, especially I got a little fanboyish just knowing everything that he's worked on, and I really enjoyed that interview. So that'll be hitting the theater. That'll be hitting the channel soon, and I'm excited to see Suicide Squad. Other than that, once again, love this panel. Love talking to you guys about comics. Love everyone that's keep coming into the chat each and every week. Hope you continue to do so. With that being said, we will see you in next week's show.
She pull up, hop out, then she swerve. Do your 2-step, your little catwalk, make it work. Make it work, Jill, make it work. Strike a pose, make it work, Jill, make it work. Strike a pose. I pull up.